How do you know if a man is a high quality man, the kind of man that you want to be with, the kind of man that you're looking for? I get these kinds of questions all the time from women. And so I thought I'd talk a little bit about this today. I know it's a bit of a subjective topic, but I put together the best kind of checklist that I think that most of the women in our community could use if they're like, hey, is this a good guy for me? And I just want you to think about this for a little bit too, because you're not looking to make sure that he has all of these things, but maybe that he has most of them and that he's working on these things. And these are kind of principles that he's moving towards. And these are things that, in my personal opinion, all men should be working towards and moving towards if they want to be quality people and have an excellent life. So hello, my name is Matthew Coast and welcome to Commitment Connection. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 different signs that you should be looking for if you want to know whether you are dating or spending time with or in a relationship with a high quality man or a man who's becoming a high quality man. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So the first and number one, and one of the most important things, I think that all of these things are incredibly important, but one of the most important things that a guy can have is a growth mindset. He needs to be growth oriented. That's number one, is he needs to be growth oriented. And so he actively pursues positive change in his life. He's growing towards becoming a better person. He's looking to improve himself, his life, everything that's going on in his life to being better. He's open to positive criticism or positive feedback about what's going on with him and who he is. Even if sometimes people, when they're on their journey, then they don't see kind of their blind spots, they might be a little bit resistant to feedback or criticism when somebody gives it to him, right? But if he still ends up taking it on, because that's what happens a lot of times, right? You might tell somebody, man or woman, that, inform them about something that might be going on with them, and they might be resistant to it at first. But if they take that on and they look at it and they go, you know what, maybe this actually is something that's going on with me, that's a really good sign. So he's looking to improve all of the areas of his life: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all the areas of his life. He's trying to take care of his body. He's working on his mental health, his emotional health, and his connection to whatever connection that he has, whether it's the universe or God or whatever it is out there. So number two is he has a masculine core. So right now in Western society, masculinity and femininity are kind of under attack, and it's really masculine men who are under attack and feminine women who are under attack, and they're being kind of shamed and attacked, and it's this is a bad gender role and all that kind of stuff, right? That's going on right now. And I don't think that works. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good for relationships. I think it's really pulled us apart. It's probably taught us a lot of good lessons about life and who we actually want to be as opposed to who we should be. However, I think that there is kind of a natural order to things. I think most men, probably around 80% or more of men, are masculine at their core, and 80% or more of women are feminine at their core. And we've really been pushed by society to not be masculine men and not be feminine women. And I think it's been really, really destructive to relationships as a whole. And so how do you know that he has a masculine core and that he's inside of his masculine core and he has that kind of masculine shell around him? So here are some of those things. He's going to go after what it is that he wants in life. So whatever it is that he wants, he's going to go after it, and he's going to figure out what it is, and he's going to figure out a way to get it. Number two is that he has a mission and purpose in his life, and this kind of goes after number one, right? He's got something that he's going towards, and he's moving forward towards that mission and purpose in his life. Number three for this is that he displays gentlemanly type behavior. So he wants to act in the masculine role, right? He wants to take care of you. He wants to protect you. He wants to provide for you. He wants to be the man for you in the relationship. The next one is that he's comfortable being in that masculine role. And so he does things where he's just that's actually where he prefers to be. He prefers to be the masculine source. He prefers to have someone in his life who's the feminine source. And he likes that polarity, and he likes being in that space and connecting with that space. He's honest and mentally strong. That's another masculine thing that he needs to have, is just being super honest, just mentally strong. He's a man of his word. When he says something, he means it, and he's honest and he's truthful about who he is, about what he wants, about what he's doing in the world. He's unapologetic about that. He also appreciates and honors your femininity. So he sees the feminine in you and he honors that. He loves that. He wants to protect that. He wants to care for that. He wants to be around that. And like I said, this is one of those things that is really, really being attacked right now in our society. And so it's kind of a shame, but it's one of those things that's happening. And I think a lot of people are moving back to the places that they feel more at home and they feel more like is truly who they are, not just because they've been programmed to be that way their whole lives. And so now they're just comfortable being in that position, which is what a lot of people have done, right? A lot of women now are really comfortable being masculine, even though they're feminine at their core, because they've been that way their whole lives. A lot of men are really comfortable being feminine, even though they're masculine at their core, because they've been pushed that way and they haven't needed to be masculine their whole lives. And so the next one is number 3 here, is that he's willing to get emotionally vulnerable. And this is something that is really unattractive if he's not masculine. If he doesn't have a masculine shell, a masculine core that he embraces, then being emotionally vulnerable to most women is not really attractive, right? He's just like crying and stuff, and you're like, I don't know what to do with this, right? You don't feel safe around him. You don't feel protected around him. You don't feel like you can let go and be yourself around him because he's not strong in his masculine core. But if he is strong in his masculine core, this is something that a lot of women tell me is one of the most attractive things that he can possibly do, is connect with his emotions, connect with himself, connect with his vulnerabilities, and just open up and talk about who he is and issues maybe that he's had in the past, and challenges and faults that he has, and coming from a humble space, right? He admits that he's not perfect, and he's willing to talk about issues that he's had in his past. So number 4 is that he is loyal, and he shows you that he's loyal. This is a very, very important one. He lets other people know that you're with him. So you're not some kind of dirty little secret. I get women all the time that are like, oh, he doesn't tell his friends about me. He pretends like I'm just a friend when we're around. And I think everybody knows, but he just acts like we're not together, right? You don't want that. You want the exact opposite, right? The exact opposite is that he'll grab your hand and he'll pull you over and he'll hug you in front of other people, and he'll put his arm around you and show everybody that he's with you. He'll tell other people that you're together. He'll let everybody know that you're together, that you're with him, that you're his girl, that you two are there together in a non just platonic friendship, but romantic kind of way. And so he'll also reassure you that being together, that you guys are actually together, that he's not going anywhere, that he's there with you if that's something that you need, which is another topic altogether. So number 5 is that he invests in you. Number 5 is he invests in you. So he spends time, money, energy, and thought in you and your relationship. So he has you in his life because he genuinely likes you, and he respects you, and he appreciates you, and he cares about you, and he wants you there. And because he wants you there, and you're not just some kind of fling, you're not just somebody that is taking a space as a space holder until he finds the right woman that he wants. Because he wants you there, he's he unapologetically chooses you over and over again, and he invests in you, and he shows you with his words and his actions that he wants to be with you, that you are together with him. So he's not trying to play the field. He wants to commit, and he wants to commit to you. So step one, remember, only be with a man who values you. Step two, refer back to step one. Just remember that. Number 6, I didn't number these today. Number 6 is he'll talk about the relationship and what he wants. So he tells you exactly what he wants. He listens to what you want and where you are and what's going on with you and whatever you want to talk about in terms of the relationship. And he makes you feel secure in the relationship. Go back to the last one where we were talking about him letting you know that he wants you. He's choosing you over and over again. He wants a real relationship, and he's unapologetic about it. Does he talk about it? If you ask him questions about relationships and commitments, is he open with you, and does he want to talk to you about it? And is he honest with you, or does he start getting all fidgety and he's like, oh my God, I'm going to run away, right? And he runs away as soon as you... It's always interesting to hear these women. They're like, yeah, I try to talk about the relationship, and he literally runs away from me, like runs out the door and doesn't want to talk about it. And it's like, that's a serious issue, right? That's a serious problem, because guys who want a real relationship, they will be unapologetic about the fact that they want a real relationship, and they want a real relationship with you. If he's not unapologetic about that, there's something weird going on, and you need to find out what that is, or you need to walk away from the situation because you know what that is. So the next one is that he brings out the best in you. And so you are a better person for being with him. He inspires you to be a better version of yourself. He encourages you to be a better version of yourself. When you're around him, you feel better about yourself. You feel like you're working towards becoming a better person. You feel like you're growing, and you're becoming more, and you're learning more about yourself, and you're letting go of things, and you're looking for things that you want, and you become more loving and more caring, and you become more authentically who you are as a human being. And that's really what you want. You want him to raise your standards for yourself and who you are and what your life is about. So he encourages you to grow yourself, to live and improve your life. Just like he strives to be amazing, he wants a woman who's amazing in his life, and he's not going to settle for that. And so you guys are bringing each other up. You're lifting each other up, and you're taking each other up, and you're growing together. Those are the best relationships. Couples who grow together stay together. And so remember to grow together and be with somebody who's growing with you. So he sees himself as valuable. This is number 8, maybe. Number 8 is he sees himself as valuable. He knows that he's a catch, not in an egotistical way, but just a factual way. He knows that he's a great person, that he deserves the best in life, and he deserves a great woman in his life. He deserves great friends. He deserves great things in his life because he knows that he's a valuable human being. He's true to himself and what he believes. He doesn't allow low quality behavior in his life. If low quality behavior comes in his life, either from you or from someone else or from anywhere else out there, he will call out that behavior, or he will remove himself from the situation and not be around it. That is a high quality man. I hear women sometimes who'll get onto my page and they'll like post these comments where they're like, yeah, treat a man like crap and he'll stay around, right? Or treat a man, what was the other one I heard today was treat a man mean and it will keep him keen, right? Like, I don't know who came up with that one, but it's actually kind of catchy. But the truth is that if a guy is a high quality man and he values himself, and you start being mean to him, you start treating him like crap, you start being hurtful to him, what he's going to do is walk away from you. That's what a high quality person, a person who values themselves will do, is they'll let you know that that behavior is not acceptable behavior. And if you continue using that behavior with that person, they will walk right out of your life. That's how it works. And so he has boundaries and he sticks to those boundaries. He's with you because he sees that you align with his values, that you guys are growing together on the same or similar paths in life, not just because he's attracted to you, right? He's not with you just because he's attracted to you or because you're the only option that he had and he's got nothing better out there. And so he saw you and he latched onto you and he's like, come on, let me stay, right? And he just holds on for dear life as you run around and he's holding on to your leg. He's holding on to your leg. It's like one of those kids, right? That at Christmas time, you're at, your your parents' place and your uncles or nieces or whatever show up and the little kids are like latching onto your feet and you're like dragging them across the floor and stuff. Don't have a man that you have to drag across the floor like a little kid. Have a man who's standing tall, who knows that he's valuable and who wants a valuable partner with him in his life because he believes in his own value and he knows that he's worth it. Number 9 is that he surrounds himself with quality people. So you become who you spend your time with. That's what happens, right? If you want to get into a relationship, find some people who are in relationships, who are in the kinds of relationships you want, and make friends with those people. And you're far more likely to get into a relationship if you're hanging out with other people who are in relationships. And so that's what you want to do. Have friends that are in relationships and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're talking about him. So you become who you spend your time with. And so if he is around low quality people, he's going to be a low quality person, even if he's just showing you the best side, right? The best side of himself. And you're like, oh no, but he's great, but his friends are like really kind of horrible people. Then here's what's happening is he is pretending with you right now, or he's slowly decaying as a human being and becoming like all of his really bad friends. And so he doesn't allow low quality people into his life unless those people are growing into higher quality people. He'd rather be alone than have low quality friends. He surrounds himself with people who lift him up and make him a better man, or are at least at a similar level to him. And this goes for you as well, right? He wants somebody that's up to his level, who's, like I talk about, who's a prize for him. He wants to look at you just a little bit above him, either equal or a little bit above him. Ideally, until you're in a committed relationship, he should just be looking a little bit up at you and think that you're just this amazing, valuable, awesome woman that he wants to prove that he's the right man for. And that's the situation that you want to be in. And you want to be with a guy who only surrounds himself with really amazing other people who lift him up and make him a better person. And so here's the question that you want to ask about his friends. If you weren't dating him, would you date any of his friends? Would you date any of the quality of people of his friends? Don't think about it from look standpoint, but look at it from like the quality of those people. And if the answer is no, then he's probably not hanging around with quality people. And then number 10, and probably in my opinion, the most important one, is that he faces his past. And so almost everyone has some kind of unresolved issues from their past, or they've got problems, they've got issues, they've got things from their past that they have to deal with, or maybe they have dealt with them. It really kind of depends. And so, has he dealt with those issues from his past? Here are some questions that you might want to ask about what's going on with him. How does he deal with his unresolved issues from his past? Does he love himself fully, or is he hiding parts of himself because he's ashamed of it? And most of us do that to a certain extent. Some of us do it more than others. And if he's totally hiding himself from his past, then he's probably in a situation where he's not really he's not really facing who he is, and he's going to end up projecting the negative parts of himself onto you, and eventually you're going to be the result of that. How does he look at his previous relationships or his previous friends and the people that have been in his life? Does he look down on them, and does he talk badly about them, or does he just say, hey, we're growing in different directions, they're really great people, but I don't think we're right to still be around each other, right? And so you want to look at that, and how does he look at people who used to be in his life? Does he forgive and let go of wrongs that were done to him by family and friends and people from his past, or does he hold on to those things? And so most people that have done much of anything in their lives have some kind of pain and hurt from their past and things that people have said to them and all that kind of stuff. What is he doing with that? Is he holding on to it, or is he letting go of it and forgiving and loving and coming from a space of compassion and connection? Does he blame people and project his issues onto others, or is he learning to deal with his own issues and take ownership of his life? This is the mark of a mature human being. They take ownership of their life, and they create their life by design. They're not just blaming the outside world on what's going on with them. And I'm in this relationship because those people suck, and they tricked me, and right? And if he has been tricked or whatever, he takes ownership of it, and he's like, hey, that's not what I want. This is what I want. I'm going after what I want because I'm a masculine man, right? What kind of a relationship does he have with his parents? It doesn't have to be good. A lot of people, especially nowadays, don't have good parents. Their parents totally neglected them as children. Their parents are drug addicts or alcoholics, or they're partiers, or they just don't care about their kids. Half of my family's like that. And it's really interesting to see. And so you don't have to necessarily be friends or have a good relationship with them, as long as you've kind of let go of that, right? If they're toxic people, he shouldn't be in a relationship with his toxic parents. If they're toxic, he shouldn't be hanging around with them, right? He should have high standards and say, hey, I love them to death, and I think that they did the best they could with the resources that they had, but I'm not going to subject myself to their toxicity just because they're my parents. And so if he has toxic parents, he probably shouldn't be in a really steady, kind of close relationship with them. And if he has great parents, he should have a, steady and close relationship with them, at least to some degree. And so you want to look at all of those things. And so I'm just going to go over the 10 qualities one more time. I know we're talking about a lot of stuff here. So number 1 is that he's growth oriented. Number 2 is that he has a masculine core. Number 3 is that he's willing to get emotionally vulnerable. Number 4 is that he's loyal and he shows it to you. Number 5 is that he invests in you. Number 6 is that he'll talk about the relationship and what it is that he wants. Number 7 is that he brings out the best in you. Number 8 is that he sees himself as valuable. Number 9 is that he surrounds himself with quality people. And number 10 is that he faces his past, whatever is going on there, and he figures out what's something that he lets go and forgives and all that kind of stuff. And so that's it